Lovely! Check this out. Let's see if people here are really smart and sharp. What does my buddy here have on his fingers? It's red and it's semi-viscous, kind of like differential oil. And when you put your fingers together, it kind of has a sticky. Kind of has a sticky texture. So where we found this was, we were poking around under this T-Ruck. I've got a power steering leak in my hydro boost, and I was checking my this and my that and my horns, and one of my hornies isn't horning. So luckily it's the passenger side because it's easy to get to. The driver's side is behind the windshield washer bottle, and that's not easy to remove. But what we saw under here was that this vehicle has had the timing cover off, water pump, timing cover, and oil pump. And I'm positive because look at the grease on the power steering reservoir and brackets, and the oil lines. The oil's all over the electrical underneath, and it looks like the differential was dropped because the bolts look like they've been moved, and you have to do that to change the oil pump or put an oil pump pickup O-ring on. But that aside, look what that goopy is on the bottom of the water pump, and I thought that was coolant. Nice goopy thick Dex Cool, and I tasted it, and it's like cod liver oil, and I've tasted that. So that red stuff, which I thought was coolant leaking, Dex Cool, seems more like leftover sealer, but it's kind of wettish. It's not dry. Don't you wish you could just take a little lick, a little schmeck? And what the heck is it? I thought my water pump was leaking because that's where it would be leaking, down the shaft, just inside the water pump pulley, but you can't really get your hand or your finger in there. So it's interesting that this oil pan looks like it was off. There's not too much sealer, which is a sign of a good mechanic, but I got the Carfax with this thing, and it does not show any major services aside from failing then passing inspection. But I think this cross member was dropped because I saw a bolt somewhere that looked like it had been this right here. This bolt right there. So I think someone dropped the front diffie to be able to drop the oil pan. There's my sensor for my oil level, and it does work. I just put in another half a quart of oil. It used 2 quarts and 3,500 miles. And I greased my suspension. Yes, nice and goopy grease. So I wonder what that is. What is that red stuff that looks like antifreeze Dex Cool, but it's not? I don't know. So that's the question and the query, and the sun's going around the sky really fast, and we wanted to get to the junkyard. I'm going to change my horn, and I did look inside here, and it does look like red Dex Cool. I'm going to take off my EGR and clean the pintle, and based on my 2-wheel drive from Knoxville that was burning oil at idle, I pulled out the PCV because I know the LS motors have a problem, and that one's jiggle wiggling, so I'm going to put it in and leave it for now so I don't break something. I'll service that at a later date. I'm going to get a spare alternator at the junkyard. And listen to this. When I crank this baby up with my 6 starter, which is holding out, here's something that I noticed. Kind of surprising, this vehicle does not have drive-by-wire. It uses a cable-operated throttle body. When I bought it, this clamp wasn't clamped on tightly, or it was loose or something. So I fixed that. When you open the throttle, it makes a whooshing sound like it's sucking air. Hear that? I paid very close attention when I reinstalled that after the doctor serviced that idler on the idler tensioner. It seems like it's open, like it's sucking air from the atmosphere, not through the air cleaner box. Interesting, huh? Or just an observation. So I will go to the junkyard, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, to pick apart Columbia and get some power steering sealer conditioner for my leaking hydro boost at CarQuest. We get a good discount there. Spare alternator from the junkyard, maybe a spare air filter. And I've got the door panel off because I was greasing that. I'm going to get a new piece of molding because the one on this truck, this maybe might have been a junkyard door panel, because look at this petrified molding. And you'd think, well, maybe the truck was parked with the sun on the driver's side, but this one here, which has darker tinted windows, this one's like brand new. And look at this one. This one's just petrified, rock hard, and sun scorched. Interesting. So I'm gonna get one of those at the junkyard. I don't think I'll find a better door panel. This one's got a nasty scuff here, but it's all one piece. I've got my door all lubed up with fluid film. Yes! I've got my Corvair companion. I got my crappy Walmart toolbox. Hope nobody steals it. I got my door check, and everything's all greased and lubied. Lubied. So there's your dilemma. Why does it make that intake sucking sound? And what's that red goopy underneath my what looks like a recently replaced water pump? Maybe it's a Chinese junk one. And maybe I'll make a video at the junkyard, and maybe I'll make one when I take off my EGR valve and clean it to show you how it got dirty and why it makes the check engine light go on and off. And one day, in the very near future, this thing's going to be in a million pieces when I pull the transfer case, the transmission, and do my intake gaskets preventatively. Alrighty, you still working on Fords?
Yeah.
Get rid of them. Junk them. Just
pick apart.
Line them all up. We got one there where the back bumper fell off, and we got one there, and we got one here, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got lots of Fords here. We could have a whole train on the way to the junkyard. Here, yes. Junk them. Chevrolet. That's how the world goes round and round.